Hi, I'm Yonicka. Welcome to my world of design and creativity, where spaces come alive. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make a wreath. Are you ready? All right, let's get started. So first, we have to get our basic tools set up. This is the base of the wreath. We have our wires and our shears that's able to cut the flowers. And we have our greenery and floral arrangements that we will be using. Now you can use a variety of florals and greenery. However, it is also important to note that we may not be using all of these, even though you see a bunch of them here. However, you want to make sure you have in excess just in case you need it. All right, so next we're going to move on to cutting away of the pieces that we want to use and starting the process of making our wreath. One thing to also remember, wreaths are not only for the holiday season, okay? Wreaths can be used all year round. We just have to change up the ingredients. So let's dive in.
So first, what we want to do is to take the foliage that we want to use in our wreath, and we just cut away the branches and the pieces that have whatever florals that we want to put on our wreath. So we use our floral cutters. What we also want to make sure that we do is to keep the same plants together. So I have all of my yellow florals. You want to keep them together in one place so that we know exactly how much we have remaining. We don't want to scramble everything together like this because it's going to make it more difficult for you to get what you want when you need it. So we're just going to keep like florals together in the same place. Okay, we'll just set those aside right here. Look at this, how beautiful it is. Now, some people may say, well, the colors are a little bit dark on some of these and they more than likely will be better in the fall. But guess what? Orange, purples, browns, they're not only for the fall, okay? They are used all year round. And with the other color combinations, we're gonna make this thing fantastic. So you don't have to worry about the colors being too dark, because at the end of the day, we're gonna make it all work. And also orange are our little berries. And our berries will be very, very good in our wreath. Now, the thing about these berries is that, as you can see on one stem, we have 4 different attachments. Now, it's going to be difficult for us to use all of this on one side of the wreath. So what we can do is we can just detach these from the bottom by pulling it off and setting it to the side, and then we will attach the berries by the base onto the wreath. Now these berries will go good in combination with these berries, but what I don't want are the leaves. So what I will do, I will end up having to cut off the leaves Now it's important to note something. I understand that I could have taken these off, taken this off, and then put this attachment back on. However, it's going to be a little bit more tricky because this is already glued onto the stem. And in order for it not to fall off in the end, when we put it on our wreath, I'd rather just cut the leaves off and then we'll stick it downwards so this part will be hidden. And already these are looking so gorgeous. Now I'm gonna set this to the side. Now, like I said, we have different types of foliage. So for this one, I am really in love with the berries. So what I'm going to do is just cut these berries off and set the rest to the side. We can use the leaves at another time in another floral arrangement. And there we have it. Now we would set those to the side. Now I particularly like the flowers on this. They are so beautiful. Look at that. Just amazing. So what I'm going to do is to cut these flowers off. And there we have it. We have all the stems that we want to use in our arrangement for our wreath. And what we're gonna do is simply start building our creation. Okay, so now we have the base of our wreath and we have our wire, our floral wire. So first we want to make sure that we secure the wire to the wreath before we start adding anything to the base, okay? Now for aesthetic purposes, what we want to do is ideally measure it around the parameter, and then wherever it ends, that's where we cut, okay? Wherever it ends, that's where we cut. Therefore, we don't have excess foliage on one side and the rest of it is bland. Since this is where I secured my wire, this is where I'm going to start adding my greenery. Now, one important thing to remember is when you are adding your greenery, whichever direction you go with one, that's the direction you're going to end up having to go with all. We don't want to go in different directions because they're going to stick out all over the place. We want a uniform look, even if we're going for rustic and rugged. We want to make sure that we keep the same direction of all the florals. So what we're going to do is start wrapping our greenery onto the wreath. Okay, now what I love about the base of this wreath is that it's just fluid. There's some branches that are sticking out, there's some long ones over here, there's some out here at the end, but that's what makes it unique, right? And we just love uniquely arranged. Now, because I cut this, once again, I'm going to secure this end to a part of the base. As you can see, I'm touching a part of the stem here that's sticking out from the base, and I'm just going to wrap the wire around there and I'm going to tie it. Okay, so this length, I'm gonna cut off and secure this side. Great. And now we secure this part of our greenery. At the end, so we just tuck this underneath the wiring that's there. Now I'm gonna continue to do that on the other side, and then we'll get into the colorful stuff.
All right, now that we have our greenery secured to our wreath, we are going to be adding some florals. Now, this one is beautiful and it's similar to the leaf that we already have down for our greenery. So what we want to make sure is that we don't have wires all around the wreath. So we use the already secured portions of the wreath with the wire to stick the florals into. So we started out here with our initial securement of the wire, and we're just gonna slide this in just like that. And we want it to be organic, correct? We don't want it to be something that's a replica of anything else. We just want to do our own thing here and just be free flowing with it. And we'll use the base of the wreath as securement. It's already intertwined, so they will keep the stems stable. We have another wiring here, and we just want to see how we want to lay our floral here, and we'll just slide this on the inside of here. And we'll see how it all comes together in the end. Once again, remember, like I said, we have to make sure that we keep the same direction of each piece, right? We don't want to have our florals going in all different directions. No. So let's see, we can add some purple ones, right? And when we add our different floral pieces in the end, we can then go back and we can secure the different sections even more. But for now, we just want to stick these in spots that we believe it will stay secure. And then we'll go back in afterwards and secure it with more wiring. Look at that, it's coming together so nicely. Beautiful. Now this one, let's see, we can put it here just to fill in for this tiny one, and it works. Gorgeous, gorgeous. We can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all done. At this time, I want to add some berries. So our beautiful orange berries, so nice and beautiful. And we'll do the same thing. We'll stick them in to our wreath in areas we know they will be secure, and we want to make sure that they are seen, right? Look at that, gorgeous. I love how this is coming together already. And I'm pretty sure that when you're doing yours, it's gonna come together so nicely. Just tap into your uniqueness and your creativity. You can never go wrong. It's all about your own unique style. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I like to add my purple berries. Now, I love blueberries, and that is exactly what this reminds me of. So I'm going to make sure that these are a focal point in my wreath. And I'm lining them up alongside my orange berries in some places. And then in other places, I'm going to just have them pretty much stand alone. Now, before I add any more fillers, I'm going to actually add some of our orange stems because I just want to add a little more pop of color to our wreath. And I'll put these along the insides so it kind of gives some contrast. This, let's put up here. Gorgeous. Now let's add a pop of yellow. So I'm going to take a few of our yellow stems and I'm just going to add them to the outside, making sure that the curvature goes along with it. And if you find that some of the stems are too long, then we have some shorter pieces that we could use right here. So we'll do that. Let's see. I think this one would work just great. It has a lot of yellow florals attached to it, so it will give us the depth and the color pop that we are looking for. Great. And then we'll adjust our grapes here, fitting it into the branch. I love how this is turning out so far. Now, like I said, you may have cut some that you feel when you're putting it together, it doesn't necessarily need to fit in. That's okay too. You can do a variety of things and ideas as you go along. You may find that, you know what, it looks great the way it is, and you just want to leave it like that. Or you may find that you want to add some things here and there. And these red florals are just beautiful. So we'll just stick them in a few spaces here, just to add a little more color. I mean, come on, who would even doubt how gorgeous our wreath would be? Don't worry about the table. We know we're working with the branch and leaves, and these things are just part of the game. So it's okay. Now for me to wonder and think about if I want to add this or I just want to leave it and probably do a summer wreath and add the lavender, leaves, and stems. Let's see. If I wanted to, I could. So let's see. If I add one here, for instance, let's see how it looks. If it doesn't take away from it, it actually isn't bad. But I think I'm gonna leave these for my summer wreaths. I just love the way that this looks as it stands. And I say we have a winner.